community. Smart regions, smart towns, and smart cities. It's where we live, work, and play. With smart communities, the future starts today. Big data, smart mobility, emerging trends galore. The Smart Community Podcast is what you're looking for.
Hello, Smart Community friends. It's Zoe here. This is just a quick episode to introduce ASCA August to you. Now, what is ASCA? ASCA is the Australian Smart Communities Association, which I am on the board of directors, a volunteer board member. So in August, all episodes will be brought to you by the Australian Smart Community Association and with a focus on the needs of the ASCA members. So we're bringing you conversations, stories and learnings from local government agencies around the world, as well as from board members. So ASCA is a not-for-profit peak body representing people and organisations who are spearheading the moves to make our communities more livable, more sustainable, and more technologically empowered. Its members and its partners include government, business, universities, and passionate individuals. And we recognise the importance of putting people first and viewing things from a local perspective while also drawing on that international experience. So I thought this episode, it's a very short one. I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up of who ASCA are in case you don't know. Now we have a few key priority areas, and the first one is smarter procurement. So this is about how we identify problem statements, what legislation change, internal policies, innovation and effective methods, future-proofing for investments, what type of procurement can really enable that. We've got vendor relationships, so that's a really key one in procurement. What type of education is required, how to manage suppliers, working with startups and entrepreneurs in this space, and also partnering and other kind of joint procurement opportunities. So the next one is strategic alignment. So this is about defining what the stakeholder needs are, aligning strategies with organisational goals, and we've got trials and pilots in here, how to design them, what the regulatory exemptions or holidays could be, measuring the outcomes as well as citizen engagement. And then in there as well, we've got project management. So how do we negotiate that? We've got IP and funding and managing media and all those type of things, which is also always fun. Then you've got focus on outcomes. So how can the smart city enable other goals that are already in the pipeline? That multiplier effect. So not just focusing in on one thing and looking at the outcomes from that, but if that thing were to happen, what are the other areas that it could also enable? The next is data management. So we've got sources and use of data. What's the standards and interoperability like? We need openness and transparency. You've got security, privacy, and trust, which are all very important. It's about also building data strategies. We've got data innovation frameworks, and we've also focusing on policy standards and best practices or good practices around the world, and information resources for all of the above that we're talking about, the openness, the transparency, security, privacy, etc. The next one is internal capability. So what is the organizational culture and governance like? What's the skills and talent required, and how can we keep those skills and those talented people? Collaboration with external partners. We've got business intelligence. How do we use the data? How do we make sure that we have the skills in-house to actually do that? Or do we bring those skills in from the outside? What does that look like? And then the efficiency. So using tools to make the processes that we have more efficient and more effective. And the last one here is technical infrastructure. So looking at fixed and wireless infrastructure and connectivity, we've got what's the IoT device requirements if we're going to use those, if it's solving a problem. We've got infrastructure specifications, access and commercial frameworks. And what's the platform architecture and implementation look like for these projects? It's all well and good to have, say, a strategy, but how do you actually implement that? These are our key focus priorities. So we've got smarter procurement, strategic alignment, data management, internal capability, and technical infrastructure. So these are the things we really focus on. And so we offer support around those things. We've got webinars coming up. I think I would have just finished one yesterday when this goes out. on smart mobility, talking about my Churchill Fellowship. So I want to give you a little bit of an idea of what ASCA does. And I'm on the board of directors, as I mentioned. And the reason I joined ASCA is because I'm very passionate, which you would have heard if you listened to this podcast before, about helping particularly local government make sense of this space and really use this smart city or smart community thing to benefit the community, the public, that real public servant mindset. Because if we don't do that, then we will just get taken away with the technology. So I'm really excited to bring you ASCA August. And we've got a number of really exciting guests for you in August. And so you'll hear from Matt Schultz, who's the current president of ASCA. You'll hear from other board members as well. I've also done some interviews from international guests because I think it's really important that we learn and start the conversation internationally. So I think that's all I need to say now. So as always, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Thanks so much for listening to the Smart Community Podcast. Show notes for this episode and all other episodes are available on our website, mysmart.community. If you have any questions for us or any of our guests, you can email hello@mysmart.community or find us on the socials. We are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter @SmartComPod. That's com with 2 M's. If you are enjoying the podcast, please leave us a rating and review at wherever you listen. This really helps us reach more ears, so thank you in advance. As always, I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as much as I enjoyed making it.
The Smart Community Podcast is what you're looking for.